Hello students, in today's lecture we will continue waves. In this lecture we will cover NCERT section 14.6 to 14.6.1. This is our disclaimer. Learning objectives. Students, after this lecture you will be able to have a clear understanding of reflection of waves occurs when a wave hits a boundary and bounces back. Standing wave patterns and patterns of nodes and antinodes, which is as called normal modes. So this is our index for today's lecture. We will start with NCERT section 14.6 reflection of waves. After that 14.6.1 standing waves and normal modes. Alright. Now we will start understanding the concept of reflection of waves. Till now in this chapter we have studied waves in open space, not confined by boundaries. What will happen when a wave meets a rigid boundary? When a wave pulse hit the rigid boundary, it gets reflected from it. So as shown in the figure, reflection of a pulse from a rigid boundary. Alright. So here when a pulse encounters a rigid boundary, alright, it is reflected back with its phase inverted, meaning a crust becomes a trough and vice versa. So here crust becomes trough when a wave incident on a rigid boundary. This inversion occurs because the rigid boundary cannot move, exerting an equal and opposite force on the pulse. So, phenomena of echo is an example of reflection by a rigid boundary. When sound waves hit a wall, they bounce back, creating an echo. In a non-rigid boundary, or when a wave moves between the interface of two medium, a part of the incident wave is reflected and a part is transmitted into the second medium. Alright. Here we are continuing the concept of reflection from rigid boundary. So students, here we are looking at a diagram that shows a stressed string and reflection from the rigid boundary. In the figure 14.11, reflection of a pulse meeting a rigid boundary. In the diagram, a pulse traveling along a string or rope encounters a rigid boundary like a fixed ball. It undergoes reflection with a phase change of pi or 180 degree. This means the reflected pulse is inverted compared to the incident pulse. Alright. So as shown in the figure 14.11, so this one is the incident wave. Incident wave is traveling. So when wave incident a rigid boundary, the pulse is reflected. This one. Alright. Crust become trough. When a pulse hits a ball, it transfers energy, exerting a force on the boundary. Now, when a pulse hits a rigid boundary, the reflected wave has the same shape but undergoes a pi phase shift 180 degree, flipping its direction. This is shown in figure 14.11. Alright, this one. Now, when a crust hits a boundary, it reflects as a trough. This is called inversion. The wave equation remains the same, but the phase flips. A rigid boundary does not move, so displacement there is always 0. Mathematically, this means y equal to 0 at the boundary. Now we are going to understand mathematical representation of reflection at rigid boundary. So let the incident travelling wave be yi x of t is equal to a sin kx minus omega t. Reflected wave is yr of xt is equal to a sin k into minus x minus omega t plus pi. This shows a wave travelling in the positive x direction with a phase shift of pi, indicating a 180 degree phase reversal upon reflection. So, over the wave equation rearranged and get the equation as y r of xt is equal to a sin kx plus omega t, representing a reflected travelling wave moving in the negative x direction. Here we are using the trigonometry identity. Sin pi minus theta is equal to sin theta to simplify the above wave expressions. Hence, by using the wave above identity, we got the wave equation as yr of xt is equal to a sin kx plus omega t. It describes a reflected wave traveling in the negative x direction. Alright. Now, for the rigid boundary, the displacement is the sum of the incident and reflected waves. The equation is y equal to yi plus yr. Here we have substitute the wave equations of incident and reflected. For incident wave a sin kx minus omega t and for reflected wave a sin kx plus omega t. The resultant expression we got is y equal to a sin kx minus omega t plus a sin kx plus omega t. Alright. So at x is equal to 0, the equation becomes y equal to a sin minus omega t plus a sin omega t equal to 0. So y equal to 0 at x equal to 0. So at a rigid boundary, displacement of a wave is always 0. Now we will understand reflection at open boundary. If the boundary point is free to move, it has no constraint. Unlike rigid boundaries, it can adjust freely. This affects how forces or displacements are applied from the boundary. In this case, the reflected pulse matches the incident pulse in phase and amplitude. For example, suppose a non-rigid boundary is open end of an organ pipe. Alright, here the end is open organ pipe. Now, let the incident travelling wave be yi of xt is equal to a sin kx minus omega t. It shows the displacement y of a particle at position x and time t. This wave is moving in the positive x direction. So at an open boundary, the reflected wave is yr of xt is equal to a sin k into minus x minus omega t. This shows the wave travels in the negative x direction with phase change 0. By using the trigonometry identity sine minus theta is equal to minus sine theta, our equation can be rearranged. So it will be yr xt is equal to minus a sine kx plus omega t. It has amplitude minus a. Negative sign indicates the wave direction. Alright. Now, for an open boundary, the total wave y is the sum of the incident yi and reflected yr waves. So, equation y equal to yi plus yr. Here we have substitute the wave equations for incident wave as a sine kx minus omega t and reflected waves as minus a sine kx plus omega t. Now here we will use the sign difference identity to rearrange the above equation. Sin A minus sin B is equal to 2 cos A plus B divided by 2 sin A minus B divided by 2. This helps simplify trigonometric expressions by converting differences into products. So by simplifying we get the equation. It's a product of cosine and sine functions. This is a resultant travelling wave with amplitude 2, angular frequency omega and wave number k. The equation can be written as y equal to minus 2 cos kx sin omega t. So in this case the wave's displacement is not 0 at x equal to 0 because cos 0 equal to 1. So the displacement is maximum there. Alright. Boundary conditions summary. So this table shows boundary types in waves. Rigid boundaries have a phase change of pi 180 degree and zero displacement like a fixed string. Free boundaries have zero phase change and maximum displacement like an open pipe end. Alright. Now what is a standing wave? Think about it. So when a wave hits a boundary, it reflects. If the boundary is fixed, the wave inverts. If free, it stays the same. Then the reflected wave meets the original wave, cause a short of interference. This creates a pattern like standing waves. So this interference of original and reflected creating nodes, zero amplitude, max and antinodes, maximum amplitude. So as shown in the diagram here, an open organ pipe produces standing waves where both ends are antinodes. Both here, both ends are antinodes, points of maximum displacement. Nodes, points of zero displacement occurs between these antinodes as shown by the points where the wave amplitude is consistently zero. So this shows antinodes, nodes, then again antinodes, nodes, and then antinodes, nodes, and nodes and antinodes. So when wave meets nodes still points and antinodes moving points form, this creates a standing stable wave, not moving. So energy is not transported but remains confined to the region at these points. For example, in a standing wave, energy vibrates locally, not traveling. Alright, so energy remains confined, not transported. Clear? Now we define the incident wave as y1 xt is equal to a sine kx minus omega t. This equation describes a sinusoidal wave traveling in the position x direction with amplitude a. Here is the reflected wave equation y2xt is equal to a sine kx plus omega t. This describes a wave traveling to the left. Positive sign in the argument shows leftward motion. When two waves overlap, the resultant wave is found by adding their displacements. Equation is y of xt is equal to y1 plus y2. This shows superposition. So students, here we have substituted the expressions of incident wave as a sine kx minus omega t and reflected wave as a sine kx plus omega t. And then we have taken a common from the expression. It represents a standing wave formed by two traveling waves moving in opposite directions. So we are using the trigonometry identity sine a minus b plus sine a plus b, which is equal to 2 sine a cos b. This equation simplifies the sum of two sine terms into a product, useful for simplifying expressions. So we get the equation which describes a standing wave. It shows displacement y as a function of position x and time t. The term sin kx varies with position and cos omega t varies with time. Now we will analyze the equation to understand its meaning. A standing wave is formed by two traveling waves moving in opposite directions. The equation we get is y of xt is equal to 2a sin kx cos omega t, where 2a sin kx is the spatial part and cos omega t is the time dependent part. The term 2a sin kx represents the amplitude which depends on position x. So the term cos omega t describes simple harmonic motion where omega is the angular frequency and t is the time. It describes periodic particle movement. In the case of standing waves, nodes are the points in a standing wave where amplitude for the wave is 0. As shown in the diagram, a standing wave pattern in an open organ pipe where the length L accommodates a specific number of nodes and antinodes, and wavelength lambda is indicated. So students, antinodes are points where the amplitude is maximum. They occur in standing waves. So here in the figure, open organ pipe, this one is the antinodes, maximum displacement. Nodes, 0 displacement. Antinodes, maximum displacement. Again nodes, 0 displacement. Antinodes, maximum displacement. Alright. Now we will look at the graphical representation of a standing wave. Let's begin by discussing how these waves form and what the graph illustrates. So students, we have understood that standing wave is formed from two harmonic waves moving in opposite directions. As shown in the figure, the formation of a standing or stationary wave which results from the superposition of two identical harmonic waves traveling in opposite directions. The blue and grey line represents the individual harmonic waves, while the black dashed line shows the resultant standing wave, with N marking the nodes here where the displacement is always 0. Alright, nodes displacement is always 0. The arrows indicate the motion of antinodes which oscillate with maximum amplitude at a different points in time t. Alright. Two waves with same frequency and amplitude travel in opposite directions. They form a standing wave equation y of xt is equal to a sin kx cos omega t. Alright. So we are looking at the graphical representation of standing waves. In the standing waves, nodes N are points of no motion. They form due to wave interference. Nodes are denoted by capital N in the diagram standing waves. In a standing wave, nodes are fixed points with zero displacement. They stay in place unlike antinodes. This happens because wave interference cancels motion at these points. In traveling waves, the entire waveform moves through the medium. Unlike standing waves, energy transfers along the wave. Now we will understand the mathematical condition of nodes. Nodes are points where the wave does not move. Amplitude is zero. They occur in standing waves like a guitar string. Equation for a standing wave when two waves interfere is y of xt is equal to 2a sine kx cos omega t. Nodes are points where amplitude is 0. For this, the term 2a sine kx equal to 0. This happens when sine kx is equal to 0. Sine kx equal to 0 meaning kx is equal to n pi or x is equal to n pi divided by k, where n is an integer goes from 0 up to infinity. So 2 pi lambda into x is equal to n pi. So x is equal to n lambda divided by 2. Nodes are at half wavelength interval. So at x is equal to n lambda divided by 2. It shows the position x of the a node in a standing wave where n is an integer. Lambda is wavelength. This relates wave properties to node locations. Now we will discuss the distance between two consecutive nodes. Position of nodes x is equal to n lambda divided by 2, where n is an integer and lambda is the wavelength. So the position of a node is at x1 is equal to n lambda divided by 2. This shows nodes are spaced half a wavelength apart. So the position of a node in a wave pattern, a node occurs where displacement is 0. The formula x2 is equal to n plus 1 lambda divided by 2 gives the position of the second node. So the distance between two consecutive nodes is found by subtracting their positions. The formula is delta x is equal to x2 minus x1. This gives the spacing between nodes in the wave pattern. So we see this equation to calculate spacing. Delta x is equal to n plus 1 into lambda divided by 2 minus n lambda divided by 2. So the distance between two consecutive nodes in a standing wave is half the wavelength or lambda by 2. This is because nodes are points of no displacement and they occur every half wavelength in a standing wave pattern. Now, antinodes are points in a standing wave with maximum amplitude. They occur where waves reinforce each other in the equation. So amplitude at antinode is equal to capital A. A standing wave equation y of xt is equal to 2a sine kx cos omega t shows displacement as a product of spatial sine kx and temporal cos omega t parts. So we know that antinodes have maximum amplitude. The term 2a sine kx must reach its maximum value. For maximum amplitude, sine kx must be 1. We see kx is equal to n plus 1 by 2 into pi. This equation shows when a wave's phase matches an antinode and is a non-negative integer. This equation shows that the phase 2 pi divided by lambda into x equals n plus 1 by 2 pi, where n is an integer. It uses k equal to 2 pi by lambda, the wave number, to the relate position x to the phase shifts in waves. This equation shows x equals n plus half times lambda over 2. It relates position x to wavelength lambda and integer n. Now, distance between two consecutive antinodes. Antinodes in a standing wave are at x is equal to n plus 1 by 2 into lambda by 2. where n is an integer. In a standing wave, the distance between two antinodes is uh, delta x is equal to n plus 1 by 2 into lambda by 2 minus n plus 1 by 2 into lambda by 2. So we simplify the equation step by step. So delta x is equal to n plus 1 by 2 into lambda by 2 plus lambda by 2 minus n plus 1 by 2 lambda by 2. So after rearranging all the terms, we see this equation delta x is equal to lambda by 2. It shows the distance between two consecutive antinodes is delta x equals half the wavelength lambda. The distance between two consecutive antinodes in a standing wave is half the wavelength or lambda by 2. Antinodes are the points of maximum displacement and they are spaced half a wavelength apart. In a wave, the distance from a node to the next antinode is 1/4 of the wavelength or lambda by 4. This shows how nodes and antinodes are subspaced in a standing waves. Now let's start understanding how vibrations in stress string are influenced by factor like tension, length and mass per unit length. So let's consider a string of length L fixed at both ends, x is equal to 0 and x is equal to capital L. So the ends are fixed nodes, so displacement is 0 there. Equation y of 0t is equal to 0 and y of lt is equal to 0. These boundaries conditions ensure the wave does not move at the ends. The displacement equation y of xt is equal to 2a sine kx cos omega t describes a standing wave. It combines spatial sine kx and temporal cos omega t parts. So we substitute x is equal to 0 into the wave equation. This gives y of 0t is equal to 2a sine 0 cos omega t. Since sine 0 equal to 0, the equation simplifies to y of 0t equal to 0. At x is equal to 0, the displacement y is 0 for all time t. This means the string is fixed at x is equal to 0. Like a boundary condition, equation y of 0t equal to 0. Now we look at the equation's boundary condition at x equal to L, y of Lt is equal to 0. Plugging in, we get 2a sine kl into cos omega t equal to 0. For this to hold for all time, sine kl must be 0. So we see sine kl equal to 0. This equation means the sine of kl is 0. Now sine kl equal to 0 implies that the product of k and l equals n times pi. So where we know n is the positive integer, the equation kl is equal to n pi. So this equation relates wavelength and length. It states 2 pi divided by lambda into L is equal to n pi. Using k equal to 2 pi by lambda, it shows wave number times length equals n pi. So kl equal to n pi. This is for wave patterns in a medium. Stationary waves have wavelengths tied to length of a medium. The formula is lambda n is equal to 2l divided by n, where n is a positive integer. This shows allowed wavelengths for standing waves in a string or pipe. Now, corresponding frequencies using v is equal to nu lambda will be nu is equal to nv divided by 2l. So nu n is equal to nv divided by 2l for n equal to 1, 2, 3 and so on. These natural frequencies are the specific rates at which a system oscillates freely without external forces. They determine how a system vibrates after being disturbed. Normal modes refer to specific patterns of motion in an oscillating system where all parts of the system oscillates together. Each normal mode has a unique natural frequency. This means the system vibrates at a specific frequency like different musical notes. Now, the fundamental frequency V1 is the lowest natural frequency. It's calculated by V1 nu 1 is equal to V divided by 12, where we can nu 1 we can say nu 1 is the fundamental mode or first harmonic, which is the lowest possible natural frequency a system can oscillate with. For second harmonic, also called the first overtone, substitute n equal to 2 in nu n is equal to nv divided by 12. So nu 2 equal to 2v divided by 12 is equal to 2 nu 1. Now for third harmonic or second overtone, substitute n equal to 3. So nu 3 equal to 3v divided by 12. Nu 3 is equal to 3 into nu 1. The conclusion means all harmonics integer multiple of the fundamental frequency are possible vibration modes. So equation Fn is equal to n F1, where Fn is the nth harmonic, F1 is the fundamental, and n is equal to 1, 2, 3 and so on. Now graphical representation of natural modes. So the given figure 14.13 shows that the first 6 harmonics standing wave patterns of a stretched string fixed at both ends, showing how the number of antinodes A and nodes A and increases with each successive harmonic corresponding to higher frequency or vibrations. The fundamental or first harmonic has one antitude, while the sixth harmonic has the sixth antinodes, with nodes always occurring at the fixed ends and at points of no displacement along the string. So a fundamental first harmonic, B second harmonic. So from this figure you can calculate for fundamental or first harmonic antinodes, and the second harmonic and two antinodes, one nodes. Similarly, third harmonic, fourth harmonic, fifth harmonic, and sixth harmonic. All right. A string need not vibrate in one of these modes only. A vibrating string has many modes. Some modes are more excited than others. The total vibration is a mix of these modes. This is called superposition. Generally, the vibration of a string will be a superposition of different modes. Now we have practice questions. First, if the incident wave pulse traveling along a string is represented by yi x of t is equal to 3 sine 2x minus 4t, write the mathematical expression for the reflected wave. In a pipe of length 2 meter closed at one end and open at the other, calculate the wavelengths of the first three normal modes. A string of length 0.5 meter is fixed at both ends. The wave speed in the string is 200 meter per second. Write an expression for the frequencies of the first four harmonics. In a standing wave describes by y of xt is equal to 4 sine 3x cos 6t. What is the amplitude at position x and angular frequency of oscillation? A string fixed at the both ends shows a standing wave pattern with 5 nodes. If the length of the string is 1.2 meter, which harmonic is this? Alright. Thank you for your attention. I hope this lesson was helpful.